Good evening, folks. It's Diamond with the Oppenheimer Ranch Project, Magnetic Reversal News, and Shinrin Yoku, bringing you a grand solar minimum update Monday, July 19th, around 10 p.m. Mountain Time 2021. The models are in, and they are showing a respite from the drought in the Four Corners region, but the West Coast, well, they've been left out. But the big story, more ready to evacuate in Oregon as the massive Bootleg fire passes 340,000 acres. Whew. Keep calm. It's boom time. Now, have you heard? We're talking about the Dixie Fire burns over 30,000 acres and it remains at 15% contained. And guess who lit it? Yes, PG&E. Take a look.
Been talking about Fox 40 is on wildfire watch. PG&E revealing this morning that its equipment may have contributed to the Dixie Fire burning right now in Butte County. In a filing to California utility regulators, PG&E has reported that a repairman responding to a circuit outage on July 13 spotted blown fuses in a conductor on top of a pole. The worker also saw a tree leaning into the conductor and fire at the base of the tree. PG&E equipment has repeatedly been linked to major wildfires, including 2018 deadly Camp Fire in Paradise, which is close to where the Dixie Fire is currently spreading. The flames are just 15% contained at this hour, and that fire is more than 30,000 acres.
Can you believe that? The powers that be. Let's hear a different opinion.
He says its equipment may be linked to the start of the Dixie Fire burning in the Sierra Nevada. In a report to the state's Public Utility Commission, the utility company says a repairman spotted a blown fuse in conductors atop of a pole and a tree leaning into the conductor and fire at the base of that tree. PG&E equipment has repeatedly been linked to major wildfires, including a 2018 fire that ravaged the town of Paradise, killing 85 people. And video from a wildfire camera shows that Dixie Fire burning in Butte County near the site of the deadly 2018 Camp Fire. This morning, there are new evacuation orders for people living near the fire lines. Fire officials say the fire has now spread. So far, flames have burned 18,000 acres, containment right now standing at 15%. CAL FIRE says one person has been hurt.
Well, the Dixie Fire, just one of more than a dozen large fires burning across
Good morning.
the state.
We know this isn't just an issue of comfort, and many...
Wow. We got a lot going on here, and we're trying to stop it. Alabama flooding, July 2021. We're talking now. The Birmingham metropolitan area was soaked early Monday evening as flash flooding led waters to rise across the metro area. Southwestern Jefferson County and west central Shelby County are under flash flood warnings until 9 p.m. tonight, just an hour before this podcast goes live, according to the National Weather Service. Here are videos and pictures of the flooding in Birmingham. Take a look at this waterfall just cascading down from a church. Holy hell. Severe flooding in Vestivia, here, Bow in Vestivia Hills. And take a look at flooding in the Action, Old Rocky Ridge Road. Photos from Rocky Ridge Fire Department shows cars, well, absolutely underwater here. Flooding in Hueytown, videos from Chris Brooks. You can click on all these videos and get the looks of the flooding you need. So be safe out there. It's only going to get wetter. Good news, the Sahara Dust plume is going to limit tropical activity for quite some time here. Here's the forecast for Florida and southern Florida. Pretty normal forecast. As usual, normal rain, normal chop, but here is what we're looking at, the Sahara Dust. And let's blow that up so we can get a better look for everyone. And this is a major event. This is today at noon. The amount of dust entering the tropics now is preventing any of that tropical development here from Africa. So this is literally shutting down the pipeline for tropical storms to the East Coast and the Gulf Coast, which is good news. I would hope so. That means no hurricanes in your future. No development expected. It's going to literally shut down all these storms for the next 5 days. So good news coming out with the dust from the Sahara. Not only that, this dust fertilizes northern South America, Ecuador, and even the southeast of the U.S. So good news, the dust is coming and no one's bumming. Extreme action underway to ensure Glen Canyon Dam can continue to generate power. Hours of powers. Flaming Gorge is going to drop by 4 feet to keep the water levels at Lake Powell above critical threshold for power generation. Now, the reason this is happening is not climate change, which they've been trying to sell to you for weeks on end with articles like this. A severe drought is threatening the Hoover Dam reservoir and water throughout the West. Yeah, the drought is not threatening it. The fact that humans for the last decade have been taking more water out of this dam than has been running in is the reason it's lowering. It's called simple math. Has nothing to do with climate change. It has to do with people that are giving more water than is flowing into this reservoir. Once you give more water than flows into a reservoir, the levels drop. If you blame it on climate change, then you can get funding from the government to help fix the problem while you continue to divert more water than is actually flowing in. It's called the stupidity complex or idiocracy, which we're living. And extreme actions are underway to ensure Glen Canyon Dam can continue to generate power. Yeah, guess what the extreme action is? They're going to give away less water than is coming in for the first time in over a decade. Idiot alert. Multiple locations may see heavy rain. Multiple locations across the U.S. may see heavy rain and storms with possible flooding on Tuesday, which will be their lose day. They include northern New England, interior Northeast, across southeastern of the Gulf Coast states, in the Four Corners region, and perhaps a small part of the northern Intermontane West. Anywhere you see green, well, beware. And click on your county for more information at weather.gov. Now we're looking at the GFS total accumulated precipitation in inches from now until August 4th. And it's looking like record flooding rains on the west coast of Mexico there is going to kill many people with mudslides. We have saturation in the southeast with 4 to 5 inches for almost every state from North Carolina south and east all the way to Mississippi. And we have record-breaking rains here in, well, take a look, north of Flagstaff, Arizona, where it is reported that up to 12 inches of rain will fall. But for almost half of the state of Arizona, they're looking at 4 to 5 inches of rain through August 4th. The monsoon is here. Here we are in southwest Colorado, and take a look. We're looking at 3 to 5 inches of rain coming in just the next 2 weeks. No one is bumming. The West, well, they need some help. So we're praying for them. And the models have been changing. They've been getting wetter, so there's that. South American crops headed for catastrophe as Antarctic blast persists. We're going to check out the... see how that works. Yeah, we're going to check out the new camera here, which is a little less than should be desired. But bear with us. It's all a learning curve after we lost everything, so we're trying to gain it back. And we're not going to be using this camera. We actually have a better camera, which we used at LeakCon, which just is not, it's not functioning. So what are you going to do? Now let's talk about the South American crops headed for catastrophe real quick. There's a couple of talking points we really want to cover here. Usually in these regions in Brazil, they have 2 sets of crops or 2 hay cuts. They grow a crop, they plant another crop, and they grow another crop. The problem is that that's not working out so well with the unexpected rapid shifts in the climate. So overall, the 2.46 million hectares to be harvested, currently 88% are in poor or average condition, which means it's all animal feed, said the Paraná State Agricultural Department. In this scenario, we should have significant reduction in expected production. And they're rhyming, and we didn't even ask them to. That's fantastic. One other thing which we should be aware of, which I did have highlighted, but I really can't find it. So that's pretty important. Okay, here it is. The second corn in Paraná, the second largest producer in Brazil, is down 19% on the year. So 20% reduction in the largest producer of corn, 88% in poor or average condition, and, well, your tortillas are going to be less than average. Yellowstone rattled by a swarm of more than 140 earthquakes in the past day. And Mary Greeley is going wild. There are hundreds of thousands of people who have lost their head, and Yellowstone is going to erupt. The only problem is this has happened year after year, year after year, forever. And it's just a bunch of fear-mongering and nonsense from people that have a large following that can influence a bunch of idiots. Now, luckily, the Oppenheimer Ranch project is only 63% idiots, according to the new statistics, which is 22% less than most channels. So the minority of you know that Yellowstone won't erupt for thousands of years. The magma itself is not in place. The water content is not correct. And it would take literally 3,500 years to build up enough magma for that supervolcano to blow. The only type of eruption that could happen at Yellowstone is a phreomagmatic eruption, which would just be mostly steam, like a giant geyser event. And there is no indication that even that is going to happen. Some of the most spectacular geysers, like Steamboat Geyser, have shut down since they've upticked over the last several years. So nothing to talk about at Yellowstone. Every single geologist that I know says the same thing that I say, only I say it a little better. Stop watching those channels. Crickets. Hello. Seismic update. No quakes of note. Normal activity worldwide, which is really a really good sign because we haven't had any times of normal activity for quite some time. We have these amazing rockers happening down in New Mexico, and the biggest quake near Malaga here, probably frac related. Nothing spectacular. We have 5 magnitude or greater in the Papua New Guinea region, which is normal. Normal activity in Japan, normal activity in Alaska, normal activity in China. Normal, normal, normal. I know, I hate to be normal, but that's what we're talking about because I'm giving you the scientific facts. Worldwide volcano news update. Sabancaya, Fuego, Sangay, Nevados de Chilán, and Nevados de Ruiz, and more. These are normal volcanic activities worldwide. Nothing spectacular to talk about except Etna. Now, what we have happening at Etna is perhaps an unprecedented uptick in activity, and this is not going to show it to us. So let's just scroll down a little further and look for the data set we're looking for here. We're here over at Volcano Discovery, and what we're looking at is Etna's ash emission strongly fluctuating with the tremor signal. So if I could just pull this up here, there it is. The volcano has been restless during the past days, but not yet, no paroxysm. And this major paroxysm that blew ash all the way over to the main island in Sicily was the last event. But look at the perturbations happening in the last 6 to 12 hours. Very significant, and no eruption to talk about currently. And there is the ECPN RMS UTC time, and this is the volcanic tremor happening. This is when the large paroxysm that blew pumice tens of miles away onto the main island in Sicily, and here we see this major harmonic tremor happening. The next paroxysm is going to be spectacular, and I didn't mute that. I just was silent. So there's that. Progress. European floods are the latest sign of me shutting that off. Latest sign of the global warming crisis. Let's collapse this nonsense. European floods are the latest sign of a global warming crisis. Do you know the same floods happened 100 years ago and dozens of time prior to that during the Maunder Minimum? It has more to do with cosmic rays and climate change than it has to do with humans. The rising CO2 has nothing to do with flooding events. It has to do with cloud nucleation and rain. People don't make it rain. CO2 doesn't make it rain. Rain comes from clouds, and CO2 does not make clouds. Clouds are caused by water vapor and cloud nucleation due to cosmic rays, proven by the cloud experiment and Heinrich Svensbach over decades of his research. Now, the European floods being attributed to climate change is the dumbest shit that could ever be perpetrated amongst the populace. And yet, it's the main theme from the mainstream. Can you believe that? We live in an idiocracy filled with, well, dumb schmucks, to be quite honest. Inorganic compounds injected into Colorado's clouds to make more snow. let's talk about geoengineering. It's not new, kids. It's been going on since the 1950s. Believe it or not, weather modification programs have been active in my state, Colorado, since the 1950s, with efforts ramping up in the 2000s, leading more idiots to glom on to the geoengineering. And, well, you know who all those idiots are over at Geoengineering Watch, pumping you full with misinformation and, well, just fear so that they can get more money and you could be more stupid, period. The most common form of weather modification in Colorado is something called cloud seeding. It involves spraying silver iodide into storm clouds with the goal of triggering more snowfall. Now, here's the get-go. According to scientific papers, cloud seeding doesn't even work. So, there's that. And the papers themselves prove plus or minus 10% that 5% increase in snowpack is achieved due to cloud seeding. Plus or minus 10%. 5% increase in snowpack, plus or minus 10%. Did you just do the maths? Ding, ding. Well, anyway. Did you see those scary Solar Storm 2021 posts on social media? No, I saw them on the mainstream media. Google had 15 headlines in the last 3 days about a major solar storm going to take out the grid and kill everyone. It all started with a single post in India, which was based on nothing. And it was perpetuated by dozens of other so-called journalists, which should all be banned from reporting worldwide because they didn't do any research. There are no references, and none of it's true. Yet the White House wants to censor Facebook for disinformation on the virus. Ivermectin COVID-19 scandal shows how vulnerable science is to fraud. Now, the Ivermectin cure is total nonsense. It was a pieced together fraudulent paper that was basically plagiarized with fake information. That's the Ivermectin. Has nothing to do with the hydroxychloroquine or any other over-the-counter cure that may be available for COVID-19, because they'll never tell you about it. Because the whole goal of the pharmaceutical industry is to sell their drugs for millions of dollars. It's not to get you well, because if they made a drug to make you not sick, they wouldn't make any money. Hello, McFly. Did you get an F in responsible thinking? I thought so. Cosmic rays help supernova explosions pack a bigger punch and flood out all of Europe. Yes. Our universe might be a giant three-dimensional donut. I hope it's glazed. This is the state of science. And people read this shit. I bet you it's a neon electric donut, just like the picture. Oh my God. A non-standard model? Whoever thought of that? Most cosmologists say dark matter doesn't exist. Yet, we teach it to every single person in the world. That's about 40 million students every year. So far, dark matter and dark energy are nowhere to be found. Not only that, no one's ever found a black hole. They claim they took a picture of it, but now they shoot out energy. So, oh, science is dead. And if you've been watching our channel continuously for the last 4 or 5 years, I'm pretty much, well, you agree with us, don't you? Dead science. Real science, we're talking about beam. And beam's a boom. Beam is not a fertilizer. No, not a fertilizer, unfortunately. But it will increase your production 50%. Beam is an inoculant. It's a highly diverse fungal dominant biological inoculant that reintroduces millions of microbes back into the soil, many of which have been abused and exhausted in the last 100 years due to tillage, herbicides, pesticides, well, and the growing population that just doesn't give a about the land. But in a very real sense, many of the essential varieties and microbes have become extinct in the abused soils, which is why out here where I live, the grasslands are dead. They've been overgrazed by sheep, and we're trying to replenish them 1 acre at a time. And you can do it too. And don't be worried about Beam going bad. Beam lasts forever for your entire lifetime. Decades, in fact. As long as you keep it in a cool, dry place. The bacteria and fungi contained in Beam will be stable and will be ready to use anytime you simply wash it off into soil, filter it, and spray it onto your soil. It's that simple. Beam doesn't go bad like fertilizers. Beam lasts forever, just like the Brazilian rainforest soil that they cannot explain. Get the Beam. Fix the carbon cycle. Fix your permaculture orchard. Fix your crop problems. For just a few pennies on the dollar, you can have enough Beam to treat over an acre, and it will last forever. That's all I have to say. Click our link below to get the Beam. And that's a boom to Beam. And knowledge. Proper prior planning prevents piss poor performance. In the dystopian world where peer-reviewed science doesn't happen because you can publish any garbage you want and retract it later when nobody's watching. We are you? Thanks to the one-time donors, the Patreons, the heroes that share this video, each and every one of you that has the balls to watch. We love you. And that's a boom. Share this with like-minded people. Be safe. And we'll see you soon. Oh, click on one of the boxes to gain more knowledge. I feel like I've said that before.